Happy Monday. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham, and we are back in the studios, and we are presented by Roan. So happy to have my Roan golf polo back on here today. Comfortable, breathable products from Roan. Go check them out. Get 20% off at roan.com/chatsports. Okay, here's what's coming up on Chicago Bears Now. The latest around Caleb Williams and Justin Fields. A lot of interesting nuggets dropping from Albert Breer today that we'll react to. Mike Evans re-signs with Tampa. What does that mean for Baker Mayfield and the quarterback market? R.E. Justin Fields as well. And then a couple of nuggets I wanted to drop from the NFL Combine from our weekend there over there in Indianapolis that I heard that I feel pretty confident about. So we'll get into all that here on today's video. And hey, it's Monday. We're back in the studios. That means we return to our live programming, which today will be live 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 Central Time. Could be a little after that. We have a busy day here in the Chat Sports offices, have some other things to get done, but we will be live. So subscribe, turn on those notifications, post-Combine live show. Should be a lot of fun here on the channel this afternoon. All right, let's talk Caleb Williams. Do the Bears love Caleb Williams? Well, certainly feels that way, and spending a week in Indianapolis, you definitely got that feeling that that is the heavy lean right now that they are going to draft him. But I thought Albert Breer dropped some interesting information earlier today, so let's present that, and then we'll react to it here. Here's what he had to say. Until this weekend, the Bears had planned to bring USC's Caleb Williams to Chicago for his top 30 visit on Tuesday, so fresh off the Combine. That is extraordinarily early. Most teams don't even start with 30 visits until the end of March or the beginning of April when pro days are wrapping up. This idea was pretty simple. Chicago wanted to check some final boxes before finalizing its plan at quarterback before free agency starts next week. In the end, Williams and the team decided to move things around rather than shuttling the quarterback to and from the California again in the midst of preparations for his March 20th pro day. The Bears will host Williams in Chicago shortly after that instead. But the idea alone, it tells you plenty about where the team is. And just building off of that, the momentum is growing here for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears that he is the large favorite to be the number one pick for Chicago. And I feel confident in saying what I'm going to say here. Barring an unforeseen setback thing, situation that pops up in the next 7 weeks between now and draft night, I expect the Bears to select Caleb number one overall. There's just too much buzz. There's too much reporting. Everything you hear all week at the Combine is, yeah, they're going to draft him. I had someone tell me the meeting between the Bears and Williams went very well. Again, there would have to be something unforeseen. There would have to be something in his physical when he takes a physical for the team that pops up that really scares them off. Or there'd have to be something they find out or something that happens with him off the field in the next 7 weeks that has not happened up to this point. And what are the chances of any of that happening? Very, very slim. So if the draft was today, I would expect them to draft him number one overall. I'll put it at that point. What's in that regard? Okay, more here from Breer. On Wednesday at 10:40 p.m., Chicago had its formal interview with Williams in the suites of Lucas Oil Stadium. Poles was joined by 5 people who are the point men in the Williams evaluation process: Matt Eberflus, Shane Waldron, Thomas Brown, Ian Cunningham, and Kevin Warren. What they saw from Williams is that in that setting was an easy confidence and a player who was not concerned much with what other people thought of him. That last part is key because the Bears have tried to drill down on making sure the person they pick first can handle the pressure and spotlight of the Chicago market. Williams checked that box. And that's a big box to check because Ryan Poles has said repeatedly since the end of the season, the person being able to handle Chicago is critical if we're going to move on from Justin Fields. So the fact that he's checked that box, I would say, is even more evidence that drafting him is a very, very real possibility. And let me just tell you, from being there, being 10 feet from Caleb Williams at his press conference, the guy is very confident. Just listen to his answer when he was asked about the thought of not going number one overall.
It's not a thought in my mind. Yeah, I don't think I'm not going to be number one. I think I put in all the hard work, all of the the time, effort, energy into being that. So I don't think of a plan B. That's kind of how I do things in my life. I don't think of a plan B. Stay on plan A, and then when things don't work out, find a way to make plan A work.
Thought hasn't even crossed his mind that he couldn't go number one. He doesn't have plan Bs in his life. That's someone who's pretty damn confident, if you ask me. More on this in a moment, but do want to talk about our sponsor, Roan, here on today's show. We appreciate them for being a sponsor here for a long time, and I'm a big fan of Roan, as you guys know. And if you're new here, the reason I am a big fan is because of the Roan Commuter Collection, the most breathable and flexible set of products known to mankind, with their dress shirts, their comfortable pants, quarter zips, and polos. And the reason they're comfortable is their four-way stretch fabric. This stuff is fantastic. It looks good, but it feels good as well. If you're traveling for work, if you're going to be in long business meetings, you're not going to stiffen up. You're going to feel good with Roan. They got nice dress shirts. They got the golf polos like this if you want to go hit the links. Happy hour, casual stuff. You have your wardrobe covered for any situation with Roan. They got their new blazers as well. Go to roan.com/chatsports and use code chatsports. That's RHONE.com/chatsports. Code chatsports gets you 20% off at checkout. That link and promo code in the description and comments of this video. Machine washable clothing as well. Just another benefit to Roan. You're going to be saving money in the long run by not having to go to the dry cleaners. Okay, Bears next step here. Well, UFC Pro Day, March 20th. Top 30 visit shortly after that. Unclear what day that'll be, but I would guess sometime in the last week of March. And then what about Justin Fields, right? Because that's obviously part of the equation here. We'll get to Justin Fields in a second. Breer had some stuff on him as well. But what say you? And I want you to answer this in what you think's going to happen, not what your heart is telling you, because I know a lot of you guys still want to keep Justin Fields, and I understand that. I like Justin a lot. I know some of you guys think I don't because I put out the video saying I would draft Caleb Williams. That's just because that's what I think is what's best for the Bears. Doesn't mean I'm against Justin at all. I like Justin a lot. But how confident are you that the Bears will draft Caleb? Even if that's not what you want to do, 0 to 100%. I'll go 96%. Is there margin for error? Could something change? Sure. You can't say it's 100%. The draft hasn't happened yet, but I'm pretty damn confident that that's where this is headed. Again, there would have to be an unforeseen setback, which 3 to 4% chance that happens, I suppose. So I'll go 96%. Okay, let's get to the latest on Fields. The Bears may have to wait for free agency to start before trading Justin Fields, and the reason is because Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield are two dominoes that may have to come and go as well. Here's Albert Breer. He said, for now, while Poles has positioned the Bears to trade Fields in the coming days, he's also open to waiting a bit if it takes time for the quarterback market, with Kirk Cousins and Baker Mayfield as headliners to develop. Now, I do want to get this note out there. Mike Evans has signed a 2-year, $52 million extension with the Bucs, $35 million guaranteed. So he is back in Tampa, the only team he's been for in his career. Why is that relevant? Well, if Baker Mayfield re-signs there, as Diana Rossini has this note, that's next for Tampa, trying to bring back Baker. Bucs have started negotiations, making every effort to get it done. Now, he's not going to take a discount there, according to Diana, but it sounds like they want to keep him. I think him staying there makes sense. Atlanta, Minnesota lurking there as well. I do think the Bucs re-sign Baker, and if that does happen before free agency, well, maybe that means a Justin Fields trade before free agency could be back on the table. But if free agency starts and neither Cousins or Baker have re-signed with their current teams, that might make trading Justin Fields before free agency difficult, because some of the teams interested in Fields are also interested in Baker and Cousins. So what about Kirk Cousins? Well, the Falcons are very interested in poaching Kirk Cousins from Minnesota, and the latest report was that they would prefer Cousins over Fields. Like, Fields might be a plan B for Atlanta, which means the Bears may have to wait this out. And I'll just say this right here. If Cousins goes to Atlanta, that's not great for the Bears. Just because from the standpoint of that's one less team that is available to trade for Justin, which makes it harder to create some kind of bidding war if you are going to move on from him. Now, could Fields go to Minnesota? There's been some chatter that the Vikings could be interested in Fields, but again, if you're the Bears, you would much rather trade Fields to Atlanta than to Minnesota, a team that you play twice a year, right? Like, yeah, you don't want to go that route. So if Cousins leaves Minnesota for the Falcons, that's not great, because Ryan Poles could be at a crossroads at that point. Like, I trade this guy in my own division and have to face him twice a year for maybe the next, 2, 3, 5, 10 years if things go well. Maybe. Does Pittsburgh get back on the phone? Sounds like they're going to roll with Kenny Pickett, which I think is insane, but that's the recent chatter there. So this QB kind of domino effect is going to be interesting to watch. Baker re-signing in Tampa would be a good thing for the Bears. Cousins re-signing in Minnesota would be a good thing as well, because then I think Atlanta kind of re-enters the Fields trade market at that point in time. So what do you guys think? Where will Justin Fields play in 2024? If you still think it's the Bears, you can put Bears, but I'm just telling you from everything I've heard, multiple people told me at the Combine how this thing is trending. He's not going to be back. I just don't see that scenario playing itself out. I do expect the Bears to take a quarterback number one, but let me know what you guys think. Where will Justin play in 2024? All right, a few more nuggets I wanted to hit on before we got out of here. Just you're at the Combine. I'm not even one of these insiders, scoops guys, but just being around, you hear things because everybody's there. Like reps from all 32 teams, every insider on the planet. And I had someone told me that J.J. McCarthy is a lock for top 10 and that top 5 is not off the table. I personally think that's too high for him, but I'll say this. If he goes top 8, very good for the Bears because that gives you a better chance of one of those receivers falling to number 9. So we should definitely be rooting for that. I think Jalen Johnson gets tagged. The Bears expressed confidence in a long-term extension before tomorrow's deadline, but we're now a day away. And again, someone told me that tag feels more likely at this point in time. So I think that's going to happen. Doesn't mean a long-term deal won't get done. You still have until July to do that, even for franchise tag players. But I do think an initial tag is in order here. And then just this isn't based on anything you're hearing, but just seeing how these guys tested, interviewed, etc. The Bears are going to have good options at number 9. Even if it's not one of the top 3 receivers, this receiver group is stacked. This offensive tackle group is stacked. I would not be shocked if Ryan Poles fell in love with Joe Walt or Olu Fashanu or one of these other players because it's just a really talented and athletic group. I mean, they were impressive to see up front in person, the way they ran around in Indy yesterday as well. I mean, Dallas Turner tested awesome. He could be in range there. Jared Verse at number 9. So Bears are going to have options there. I think trading back is very much going to be an option too if they want to just get more capital and still get a really good player. So feel good about that second first-round pick that the Bears have. So that is all very positive. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this morning's edition of Chicago Bears Now. Again, we will be live this afternoon, so subscribe and turn on notifications. We'll see you guys then. Bear down.